That's how I got on the Marvels. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
The Marvel movies. I've been watching the Marvel movies lately, the Infinity Sagas.
Yeah.
And I was like, kept feeling like I wanted to watch them, but then I would go to pick one. I'm like, I don't fucking want to watch any of these movies. Like, there's not a one of these that I want to watch, you know? So I was like, I think I'm just going to fire these out. I'll just run through them and I'll just force myself to it. And then it will be, regardless, it will be out of my system.
Indeed.
You know, I will have finished this. And so I think I've got to be halfway through the saga now. Like, I'm on like Thor Ragnarok, you know. So I've watched Civil War and a good majority of these.
All the Avengers
The
ones.
first Avengers movie and like Age of Ultron. So the first two Avengers movies. And
I liked Age of Ultron.
It was
bro.
great. Yeah.
That one was real good. That fucking, the Jarvis, you know, the Ultron.
Yes.
When he's bad Ultron is fucking dope.
I think that I have decided that Civil War is the best one. I think Civil War is the
Interesting.
best Marvel movie. That's
I haven't seen that one in a while.
yeah, and that's
check
not an
that out.
opinion thing. I think I've decided for everybody.
really?
That's
This
the
is
best one. Yeah, Civil War is the best one. What up, Kevin?
What up, Kevin?
The plot in it is a little bit thin. Like the bad guy that sparks everything off. You know, his family. I think he was Sokovian, and so his family dies in this battle, and it's the same deal as like the Maximoff, the twins, that they're you know, we were in the building and then Stark's name is on this missile. Like, he says the exact same shit. Like, you guys did this. And, you know, and then I realized that I couldn't kill you guys by myself, but if I could, you know, tear you apart. Okay. So
China style.
Right, so hold on, right? Hold on, because your family's been dead for less than 5 years. You're telling me that in less than 5 years, single-handedly, you not only figured out all this stuff about the Winter Soldier, you found where the background information was, you found out the people that you needed to interview, you designed your own fucking Tesla coil bomb, you procured the money, the funding, and all the things required for you to pretend to be the Winter Soldier, to bomb the UN building while pretending to be the Winter Soldier. Like, you did all this in 5 years, and no, not one of the Avengers fucking found out about it. Jarvis is literally an AI. Like the Vision is literally an AI. He does not. It's not real. He does not real. He locked Ultron out of the internet permanently. No one fucking knew that you were doing any of this.
And yet it's still the best one.
Oh, it's definitely the best one. The movie's unquestionably the best. The plot is thin, but the movie is unquestionably the best.
I was like, wait, you just tore the shit out of that movie. No, it's still the best, bro.
It's just that part.
It's either that or we're setting a real low bar.
Because that's also the last 5 minutes of the movie. Like,
Bilbo!
Bilbo, yeah. Everything happens, and then they're at the very end of the movie, and they're at the Winter Soldier house where the other Winter Soldiers are, and this guy Zemo is his name. He kills them. He's like, I don't want any of this bullshit anymore. You know, I don't want any more supers. And he plays the video for Iron Man and Captain America, and so they're doing battle, and he tries to escape, and he's outside, and somebody stops him, and then he says everything. So, like, they're fighting at the end of the movie. That's happening while he's explaining why he did this. That's the very end of the movie. It's only then that you're like, what the fuck? It's only then.
So it's like that
Everything
last
up until-
5-minute wrap up.
Yeah. Yeah, everything up until then is totally kick-ass,
Okay.
you know? It started to get hairy for me when he's playing the video. Like, when he's playing the video that shows you that Winter Soldier killed Tony Stark's parents. You're like, why, though? Like, fucking, why are you doing this? Like, this doesn't really make any sense. I don't understand this. So, you know, enough things have happened. Why is this happening? There's already enough disagreement with the Sokovia Accords and, like, Captain America's a fugitive. Like, all this is already enough. He already can't go back to America, has to leave with the Winter Soldier forever. Tony Stark already doesn't like him because of the choice that he's made. Well, what's the point of this? You know, I don't get, the last step is what doesn't make sense. Everything else is kick-ass. I think the action is the best in that one. The fighting is fucking cool. That's when the stakes start to get really serious. You know, Rhodes, like a war machine, loses his legs. He falls for a second, gets paralyzed. Like, things get really serious. That's when things start to get final, you know? After that, the next Avengers movie, like, people start dying for real. So things are starting to get super duper real. There are actual consequences for what's going on. It's not just like
when Civil War actually breaks out.
Yeah, because prior, and that's when they started talking about the cities and stuff. But up until that, you've just watched 10 Marvel movies where they destroyed cities and no one fucking said anything about
exactly.
it. No one fucking mentioned it. New York has been destroyed 2 times in these first 10 movies by the Hulk and then by the Avengers. No one's mentioned a goddamn thing. that's weird. You know, that seems very odd that we've gone this long and no one's mentioned it. So it all is very natural how all those things begin to come together. Yeah, but it's only in the very end. You're like, this guy just doesn't make sense. Though just this guy, just that he's the underline of this doesn't make any sense. But
he's the Deus Ex Machina that they had to throw in because, like, we have to figure out how we're gonna do this. Fuck it, insert bad guy killing his whole plan. Done.
Yeah,
game over. That's how we did this.
And I don't know how much that differs from the comics. I don't know if that's the same story that it was in the comics, or I had never read that line. I don't know. I've been really enjoying the background story of it, though, like the continuity thing I was telling you about. I just never watched them close enough together to really even care about it or pay attention to it. I was just enjoying them as action movies, you know?
They just they hit so different when you're actually sitting there watching them like consecutively.
Yes.
Because the subplot follows and it carries through, and they're actually pretty good at maintaining that whole storyline.
The ones that carry through that progress the story, yes. Because all the other ones that I've watched that don't, I haven't enjoyed. Like some of the, like I've watched 3 Thor movies now. The last 2 of these were not fucking relevant. You know, you had a whole movie about this one stone that like all this other shit happened just for this stone to be in a certain place. Yeah. It's a bit much, you know. That's when you can be like, okay, you're really cash grabbing now. You're just making as many movies as possible.
Yeah, we got to make the Thor franchise.
Yeah, this Thor Ragnarok, like the second Guardians of the Galaxy, like none of these things are progressing this story forward.
With the second Guardians
of the Galaxy, Kurt Russell's in it, and you find out that Kurt Russell is Star-Lord's dad, and he's like a planet and all this stuff. Yeah. Nothing happens. Like, it's a whole movie where nothing actually happens. There is no actual progress in the story of the Infinity Stones. Yeah. Even the clips at the end are just funny clips for the movie. They're not, you know, a sneak preview for the next. Yes.
And I have not seen that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I like the first one.
Thor 1 is and that's, I remember not liking Thor, and then I watched it again. I was like, this was actually pretty good.
Oh, word.
This first Thor was actually pretty good. It's a bit much. He's a bit much, just because they're still figuring out how they're going to do the superheroes, you know?
It was so early, too.
Yeah, his eyebrows are blonde, everything. He's pure Aryan, you know, which is, it's Thor. That's obviously what it's supposed to, like, that's the idea.
His dad is Anthony Hopkins.
But what he looks like at the end is just a better... looks better. It's a better resemblance. He's got dirty blonde hair. Like his hair's like your color. It's not, you know, it's a normal person. Yeah. And then he gets back to normal size. He gets to eat. It's normal. You know, he looks regular. Short hair Thor when he's like has a beard and shit. This makes way more sense than this. It's just a bit much, you know.
The costumes were a little intense.
They're a bit much. Yeah. But
a little too campy, I
think. The first Spider movie, same deal. Like nothing happens in this that progresses the Infinity Saga forward, you know? So this is a fine movie, but don't put it in this collection because it's not getting me anywhere. It's just a Spider-Man movie. It's a fine movie, perfectly fine, but there's nothing that happens.
The first Tom Holland one?
Yeah. Okay. But nothing that's relevant to the actual Infinity Stones or like making that happen, you know? Yeah. Doctor Strange, at least we're finding out, okay, he has the Time Stone. Like that's where this is now. Yep. This is a part of the story. This is relevant. It's his origin story, and now we know where this other stone is that they're going to come back and find.
Well, that was like the thing with the first Guardians.
Precisely.
They were grabbing that thing, not even knowing what it was, but you still, it's... You know, it's progressing and it's moving along.
Precisely. Hot take, I don't like Endgame. I will come back to you next episode and tell you what I think about Endgame. Because I've got it. I've watched it multiple times since then, but again, not
in the series.
Yes. So I want to get the full breadth of it, and then I will decide. But I was talking to Jordan about it last night, and she was saying, I just remember there was so much that happened in Endgame. Like, it just felt like there's just another thing and another thing and another thing. You know, it's just continual hurdles. And I do remember
they had all these loose ends they needed to tie up for the most part, and they had to come back and tie them all up. I remember that one feeling like a fucking long movie.
It's 3 hours. The 3-hour movie, and they kill Thanos in the first like 20 minutes. Yeah, like they cut his head off, and you're like, "Whoa, hold on,
what do you mean we're done?
Doing now?" Yeah, and then they like, you know, Tony Stark is like, "Oh, by the way, I figured out fucking time travel."
Yeah.
All you had to do was just commit a month, and now you've got it. That's all that it took. You've been fucking around this whole time, and it would have just taken you a month of real effort to figure out time travel. That's a little bit...
Yeah, because that's the one where they actually go back through the quantum whatever. And that's
with the Pym particles. Yeah. And they have to go back to different parts in time.
That's right.
And Infinity War is way better. I agree. 1,000%. I haven't even watched them again yet in this series, and I already agree. But... yeah, it's just a bit much. And then when they go back in time, same deal. You're only an hour and a half into the movie. You're like, hey, there's no way this works out because there's still way more movie left. So I know that this isn't going to be the end, you know? So, yeah, so they have, I don't remember, I haven't even watched again since then, but I remember that they go back in time and then shit gets fucked up. And so they have to like jump again or something. And
it was something was fucked up.
They have to jump back and get more Pym particles and a cube. And if, you know, it's like, goddamn, bro.
It's too much, bro.
Yeah, just fucking...
Tell me the fucking story.
Just get it together. Cut this
get
whole
your
middle
shit
part
together.
Out. Cut the whole middle part out.
Get your shit together.
There we go. Get me to the final battle where Captain America finally says Avengers Assemble for the first time in the whole series. And then let's get on with it. You know? Yeah, they tease you one time. They tease you at the end of Civil War. He's gathering up this kind of ragtag crew that he's going to have. And he says, Avengers? And then it cuts. And you're like, oh, you fuckers. You fuckers. But then finally, in Endgame, he's right there. Everybody's coming through all the portals, all everything. Avengers? Assemble. And then everybody fucking gets after it. And you're like, goddamn, we watched 30 movies to hear you say it one time. To hear you say it one fucking time we watched these.
Well, if that doesn't perfectly explain how Disney does their fucking marketing and their money grab, that's exactly, it seems like there's not a better place to do that.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat everything.